I'm Brad Jewett.
I'm Tim, the Trail Man.
Keeping it real.
And now, Brad and Tim.
Hey, Timmy.
Topic.
Virtual fist bump
I'm in
there.
I'm in
Virtual
there.
fist bump. Good to see you, Timmy.
Yes, sir. Top of the evening, Monday night, right?
Monday night, we've got a great show. We have a great show. You know, I heard something yesterday. I have to share this before we get going. We always talk about, updates with the coronavirus and all that. And my pastor said something, and Tim, I think maybe you saw this part, maybe you didn't. Yesterday, it was kind of interesting. He's like, we're all carriers. But what are we carrying? Are we carrying fear, depression, all that? Or are we carrying hope, joy? What are we carrying? And it made me made me think what an awesome opportunity it is for parents right now to have their kids at home, because you hear so many times that, the kids go to school and the teachers end up raising them. And right now it's not that way, obviously. I mean, the teachers are, all doing their deal on the webcast and all that, but what an awesome opportunity for parents to be able to put into their kids and just trying to find some positive out of this time right now. It's amazing what is going on in our world, in our country, but what a positive thing. I mean, in the area that I live in, I see dads riding bikes with their sons and daughters, walking the dog, I saw people playing baseball in the street today. I haven't seen that since like 1980 when I was a kid.
They're learning that too, right?
Yeah,
like the fathers have to learn to be at home, like us too. We have to learn how to be home longer, right? Our friend Schaefer is saying that our luggage is talking to us saying, how come we're not on an airplane? We haven't been on an airplane for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So weird, not packing and packing, right?
It does. I mean, yeah, exactly.
My dogs are going, Trail Man, you've been home so long, doggy daycare, what's up?
Get out of here, Trail Man.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So,
well, hey, let's, anything new you want to share before we bring on our special guest tonight, buddy? We have a ton of viewers starting out here in the first 5 minutes. This is going to be an epic night. It's awesome.
That Shane Matt guy, we love him.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to Shane. Let's bring him. Let's do it.
Let's bring him.
Shane. Pop that boy in there.
Oh, where'd he go?
Already?
Where'd he go? I just admitted it. There he is. Shane, all the way from sunny Florida. We have Shane Rooks.
What's up, gentlemen?
Welcome, Shane.
How are you guys?
Great. And I got to say, this is like with 5 minutes into our program, the viewership right now is off the charts, dude. So kudos to you. Julie, to you as well. Yes. Because I know, Julie, you've done a lot helping get the word out here tonight. So we thank you.
We appreciate it for sure.
And talk about it, yeah.
My best PR person ever right here.
Amen to that. Behind a great man is always a greater woman, right?
You got that right.
So how about you guys over there, like the coronavirus and stuff like that? What's happening with you guys in your area?
It's probably pretty much like everywhere else around the country. It's kind of quiet. But, like you guys were talking about earlier, just families are all riding their bikes and everybody's just hanging out. And talked to the FedEx guy this morning. And everybody just seems to be dealing with it and being very friendly about it. Everybody knows we're all in the same boat together. So they're all just trying to cope and deal with it and go about our lives and hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Got it. But do you guys cook more, or do you guys go out, do you take out? Or?
For us, we're on the road so much, probably like you guys.
Yeah.
We eat so much out. When we get home, I enjoy cooking and barbecuing. A lot of times we have our crews down. For example, the show we did in January, we'll cook, ribs or put some on the barbecue. Or Joel's a great cook too, so we enjoy cooking, and even more so, I love eating.
Yeah. Do you have a special kind of barbecue? Or do you just like, do you like charcoal? Do you like gas? Do you like the Traeger? What do you like?
I like it all. I'm kind of familiarizing myself a little more with smoking, doing some of that kind of stuff. I bought a new grill about 2 years ago when we got our place in our townhouse over here in Tarpon before we bought this place. And this grill is unbelievable. It's got some kind of infrared heating thing on it or whatever.
Oh,
But
nice.
For a propane grill, this thing's like unbelievable. Cooks
Nice.
everything like evenly and fast. Just probably the best grill I've ever had in my life.
Perfect.
So,
Yeah. Which
Um,
makes it even more enjoyable.
I'm gonna give it, Julie, my friend Heidi, our friend Heidi, said to say cheers to you. So
Cheers,
Heidi, we watch every night. So here's to you. I hope you're enjoying your wine.
Yes.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So that's the
We
best
got
part.
Canada. Canada's in the house. Sorry.
That's part of the show. You know, it's after dinner or whatever. If you're California, a little bit later, but earlier. But just relaxing. Like it's like fireside bar talking here, right? We just
Yeah.
Yep.
asked a few
Well, and I
questions.
don't have to compete with Monday Night Football, so this is even better.
That's what we were talking about, right?
That was our intro. That was
Yeah,
our intro.
really?
tonight.
Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about Howard Cosell and Dandy Don and Meredith and Gifford, right? We missed that introduction.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, man. That intro, when you heard that dun 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 dun,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that was like get you fired up for Monday night.
Heck
Goes
yeah.
down
It
your
just
spine.
took you to another place for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, young man. Let's jump in and say like where you're born at, places you've lived a little bit. Give us a little history of your beginnings.
Well, I'm kind of like a bad rash. I've been around a lot of places. Yeah, I was born in Wisconsin, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, to be exact. And my mother and father got divorced at a pretty early time in their marriage. So I was fortunate. It was a sad time, but I was fortunate enough to come out of it really well because my mom met my stepfather, who was a wonderful guy. And so we moved up to Canada when I was probably 5 or 6, and I lived up there in Ontario by Niagara Falls for several years until I completed all my schooling and got through with that. And then they bought a condo down here in Florida in Clearwater, which is just 30 minutes south of where we're at now. And so I ended up going to college there and wanted to pursue a career in law enforcement. So I went to school there, and in that process, I ended up back in Wisconsin. So kind of did a full circle.
Oh yeah, here goes.
There I am. Yep.
Look at that.
How
How about that?
Beast mode on the right. Yep. Arnold Schwarzenegger looking like, there it is.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
You haven't changed a bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah. More gray hairs.
So what'd you do as a police officer?
Well, so I moved back to Wisconsin, and that's kind of where my whole thing with the horses began. I kind of reunited with my biological father, so I moved back in over there and got hired on with a buddy of mine who was doing. He was the assistant chief of police at the time, but he ventured off into doing remodeling. So I started doing remodeling with him and policing at night and in the evenings. And so I just went down that avenue for a while and hung out and worked the graveyard shift on the police force. It was the rougher part, the bar breakups and all that kind of stuff. So it was the fun part. So I had best of both worlds. I got to work with him during the day and do a lot of stuff outdoors, and then I got to go bust heads at night doing the policing part. So that was fun.
Do you have any stories?
Well, here's the funny part. This town was the third oldest town in Wisconsin. It was very, very historical. But it was known at the time to be a real kind of rough area because the main highway that ran through there, a lot of biker gangs would go through and stuff. So it kind of had I don't want to say a bad reputation, but it kind of had a bad reputation for stuff like that going on. So it could get pretty rowdy on the weekends. So, but yeah, it was
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't regret, but third oldest town in Wisconsin, like a town of 2,500 people.
So from the police, from working as a police officer, then is that your stepping stone to go into photography?
So that was kind of where I'd met Harold Campton, who we like to refer to as the Godfather, whom Jeff and Casey and Larry and all of us kind of mentored under or studied under or was hired with at one time. So yeah, there's an old picture there of Larry next to me and Harold on the end in '94 at the AQHA World Show.
So Harold is the one that introduced you to photography.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He bought an old Victorian home, and we got the bid to remodel it, and he wanted to make it into a bed and breakfast. And so we were doing that, and he liked the way I worked, and pretty much offered me a job and said, "Hey, we're going to go on this little tour they call the Fall Run." And I had little experience with horses at the time. My dad had some horses and stuff, but I never really rode or showed or did anything along that lines.
So what's a fall run?
Yeah. What's that, Tim?
What's a fall run?
So the Fall Run was it was comprised of about 4 shows. So we start in Michigan, and we go to the Detroit All Breed Show, and it was my first introduction to the horse show world. So I got there, and I'm in Detroit of all places, and I'm watching them, paint these hooves and put fake tails in, and I got Harold, and I'm out in the middle of the arena with him while he's shooting, and he's giving me the whole lowdown and the gist of what you're looking for and what this is, and meanwhile my head's spinning, going, well, what the hell is this all about? Why are you doing this? What's going on? But and then I got, of course, introduced to Larry, whom also he worked at. I think he helped run the show at one time and some stuff like that. But he was over running the backdrop, so that was kind of my first introduction to him, outside of meeting him in Mineral Point before that. And
so, before we get away from it, I want to recap real quick, because this is such an amazing part for me. Mm-hmm. To know. I don't want it to get overshadowed, because you were a police officer doing side work as a carpenter or remodeling a house that happened to be Harold's house.
Right.
And he asked you, do you want to go to a horse show? And you're like, to make extra money, right? Right. And you're like, okay. Yeah. And you go, and I'm
a 22-year-old kid probably at that time too.
So, and we're not going to jump forward all the way yet, but now everybody knows Shane Rux is who Shane Rux is right now. But I'm just saying your story and how you were available to say, I want to try new things. Yeah, sure. Why not? You got out of your box, your comfort zone, whatever it may be. And who you met, you allowed, in my opinion, for me, I felt like it was always God just introducing me to people. Right. But it's maybe for you too, but just like you met somebody that changed your life.
Yeah.
I mean, this man changed your life and created this, and I don't want to go too far, but the empire that you have right now is Shane Rux Photography, which we're going to talk about as the night goes on. But this is amazing. Harold cannot be understated here. Harold is a life changer.
Absolutely not. But more importantly, too, it was, I think maybe living in 2 different countries helped too, and I was kind of, one of those kids, I was deemed like the wanderer growing up when I was in high school. Nobody ever saw me, just kind of that guy that stayed in one place.
Gotcha.
And what I found in my travels, when I was always going somewhere, meeting new people, even family that I hadn't seen in forever, doors would seem open. And so opportunity was there. And I was never one to shy away from it. I always wanted to try it, which is what I liked about the police work. It was never the same stuff. The construction was never the same stuff. You might be roofing, you might be siding, you might be, you're doing concrete work. It was always something different. So the whole idea of doing something new and different always captivated me. So I think that's what kind of probably drew me to, Harold saying, hey, come on into my world. Let me show you this. And I jumped on it and tried it. And, I wasn't real receptive to it at first, but I did grow to admire it and, you know, and
You're-
respect it for what it is. And once you get an appreciation and understanding for something, it's easy, you know, to go forward from there.
But you're obviously a very coachable person.
I always like to think of myself, which is one of those type of people. I learn better by doing hands-on,
Yeah.
actually doing the work. And I never feel like, once you feel like you know more than somebody else in certain things, which is, you know, their expertise or what they might be good at, you're done learning.
Yeah.
I enjoyed learning, and I always enjoyed learning from people more so than, say, a book or something like that, and doing it hands-on. That I could appreciate.
Gotcha.
Which a lot of
Yep.
guys that are riding horses feel the same way. You know,
That's the way I am. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to be out there doing it. You know, and then
Yeah.
where else better to do it than outside and in fresh air and, you know, enjoying life that way.
So I'm thinking, like I used the example of Carson, right? Like Carson kind of mentors under me a little bit.
Sure.
So after working a few years over there, like what's your first big project you did by yourself? And like, what's the big horse show that you kind of did on your own, like just to step outside?
So once I met Harold there, he kind of opened some more doors for me. So I worked under his wing for a while with him.
If you can, while you're talking about this, give us some timeline. Is this 92, 98?
This is probably 93. 92 was pretty much when I started with him. I got more comfortable. Now, mind you, we're still doing film back then, and these are old cameras. They weren't like 35 millimeter, and you just load it and boom, 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 shoot and go. You know, these were old cameras. You had to wind them. You had to manually focus them. You had to change lenses on them because they weren't zoom lenses. So there was a lot to it. So I was never a person to bite off more than I could chew. So I wanted to learn it, and it took me some years, but I figured it out, got more comfortable with it, and Harold got me the opportunity to be able to go do a farm shoot for Mike Hochtel, which was my very first farm shoot, and Mike was great. Had a great time. Him and I immediately connected, especially him being from Wisconsin, me being from Wisconsin. You know, two cheesehead guys just talking about Packers and whatever, you know. But
cheeseheads.
Yeah.
Right.
But he was great, and Harold also got to show the Buckskin Congress. So he wasn't able to do it. He referred to me. They took a chance on it, and I did it for years and enjoyed it. And it was in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan, at the old fairgrounds of all places, until they moved it to the university there. So like, in fact, Cody, who works under me and also has his own business doing his own thing, does the show now to this day. And one of the girls that runs it, and her kids grew up doing it, had contacted me and wanted to know if I knew anybody who could do it. And I referred him, and it's been a match made in heaven.
So we're gonna pull up a couple of pictures here.
Oh, that's old.
That's 1996.
Yep. So this will be 90. 96. I went on my own. Right around this time was when I started doing my own stuff.
And did Jeff have this or Harold?
Harold still had the show at this time. The gentleman to my right was actually the fiance to Harold's wife, who lived in Wisconsin. That was his fiance's, his sister's fiance.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Harold's wife's sister's fiance. Darren, I can't remember his last name, but he was actually from Fort Worth, Texas. He was a nice guy.
Same show, different. Look at that.
All set up.
Yep.
Guys goofing around.
Yep. Yeah, we did a lot of locations when we were doing that show.
So my other question, sorry to interrupt you guys, but I don't want to miss anybody here. So can you tell me about the other photographers that you work with in your career, like how you guys work together at some shows?
Yeah. Well, you know,
early stages of this.
The unfortunate part of it, like with the training, I'm sure too, for a lot of the guys, you go into business and you're competing right away with everybody else. So there's, you know, only a handful of us out there, but Jeff was out there obviously, and Casey was obviously out there, Larry, you know, all those guys. And Don Schugert, and so they were doing their own things and their own shows, and Larry and I were pretty much working with Harold at the same time. But once things started splitting up, as to say, Jeff started getting Congress, and Casey started taking over the Core World stuff, and Larry took over the apps and paint stuff, and that kind of thing. I still continued to work with all of them, really, for as long as I could, because I'm, as well as you guys know, a lot of the shows seem to overlap, so it's hard to be at two places at once. But I did my best to work for all of them as much as possible. But I learned a little bit from all of them, and they were all great guys to work for. Treated me really well, paid me really well, and owe a lot to all those guys.
Oh, that's old school too.
Yeah, that one's old. That's Primo's in the middle there, and Kathy was actually out and helped me now too a little bit, and there's Casey and Nova, and Jana. Jana's used to work for me for years after she worked with Casey too. She's married now and has 3 kids, I think 3 or 4. I can't even remember now. And there's Cody on the end.
Yeah, look at how young Cody looks.
Yeah, Cody,
Primo does all the reining deals.
Primo does a lot of working cow and reining stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And there's Shane.
Yeah, World's Greatest Horseman. He does all that stuff. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's funny seeing all of us back then.
Old school stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the grunts at the time.
That's the
In our
history.
dude.
Right? I mean, think of all of us in whatever we do, whether it be my deal, your horse training, your photography. We all coexist together, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
I work with Don, I work with Carson, I work with EJ. We all work together at different horse shows, and like I might just draw on those guys, set my stuff up. You might set something up for them, and they do the
Right.
shooting.
Right.
We all kind of pick and choose what we like to do, and we feel
Absolutely.
like if you don't want to do something, like okay, I don't want to shoot in the arena. I want to shoot the backdrop.
Right.
Backdrop all day long.
Right.
I'll set the course all day long. I'm not going to rake and reset the course all day long, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As we get older, we get smarter, right?
Yeah.
Been there, done that. So it's
Yeah.
like we
Yeah,
move on.
I've raked enough in my lifetime. I'm
Yeah.
okay with it. Okay, Carson,
Exactly.
you
I
guys.
always make that joke, Tim. Every time we're at the backdrop and the horse takes a crap, and once in a while, grab the shovel, and go scoop it up, and then everybody looks at me and I go, "That's how I got my start."
Yeah, I know exactly. Right?
Funny
You gotta
guy
keep-
there.
You don't ever want to forget where you came from,
Right.
That's right.
We're all
Don't get
right.
too far from your roots.
No, absolutely
That's
not.
right.
It's like to go rake, to go move a pole. I get it. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's part
not
of
a
it.
big deal. I'll sit there and watch the wood for a while. Okay, don't let me do it all day, but I'll do it for a while until you need a break. I have no problem doing that and stuff like that.
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Keeps us humble.
So can I do my rapid fire?
Yeah, I think we'll do. Let's do. These are some good ones. And so
Okay.
all of y'all that don't know, these rapid fire questions Shane has not heard. Obviously, we get on and we visit with him, kind of let him know a little bit about what's going on. But Shane hasn't heard these questions yet. And Tim and I are toying with trying to do a little clock on this somehow. And if I don't know, it's all in the making. We're not doing it yet. The
Okay.
rapid fire questions, and then after this, we're going to cut to our little commercial break and thank our sponsors, and then we'll come back and we've got a ton more show with Shane tonight.
We got so
All
much.
right, Timmy, here
Okay,
we go.
ready for the first one? Okay, easy one.
Ready? You ready?
Bring them on, T.
Okay, name something you got to do more of during the quarantine.
Exercise.
Very good.
Oh, me too.
Yep, I agree. Name your favorite working class to shoot.
Working class to shoot.
Like a performance class, you mean, right, Tim?
Well, like a fast-moving class. Like,
I would say working cow or cutting.
Yeah,
Believe
right,
it or
okay.
not.
If you had a choice, which one? If you had a choice of,
Cutting probably more so because it's a little bit harder to shoot.
okay, love that. Name your favorite all-around pattern class to shoot.
Ooh.
Trail.
Good answer. Good answer.
Are you kidding
Just
me?
came to the top of my head. I don't know how to do that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he did pause.
Name your snack of choice on your breaks at the horse show.
Say again. I missed it.
Name your snack that you eat
Oh
on
yeah.
your breaks at the horse shows. Your snack of choice.
Snack of choice. Julie buys these, and I found them a long time ago. They're like the little prosciutto rolls with cheese rolled up in the middle of it. So that's probably.
That's what I was eating tonight.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're like you buy them in the grocery store. They're all rolled up.
I've got some in my refrigerator. Tina, just pick them. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready for this one?
Okay.
Name your favorite trail obstacle to shoot at a horse show.
No, I actually like the bridge.
The
bridge or the gate, either one, I would say. I mean, they're just you can get a little more creative with that stuff.
Okay, I'm giving you that one.
Okay.
Name your favorite TV show that had more than one season.
Oh, one of my favorite shows all time, Magnum PI.
I totally see you as a Magnum PI guy.
Right?
That's awesome.
Ex-cop who would want to be a PI guy on Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
I would have said that.
What's your favorite meal to cook at home?
Favorite meal to cook at home? I really enjoy barbecuing steaks, and or on occasion, special occasions, we've done king crab legs.
Okay, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, good job. Good
Nice.
job. Welcome. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your favorite professional sport to watch?
football.
Football. Okay, easy one.
And, football.
Who's your favorite professional hockey team?
Okay, so this is kind of a trick question, and you guys don't even know. But when I was living in Canada,
You got it, Tim.
I grew up right there, like I told you, by Niagara Falls. So I was growing up a huge Buffalo Sabres fan. Huge Buffalo Sabres fan.
Wow. Okay. I get it, but
I am still a Buffalo Sabres fan, but I am a huge Lightning fan, and you got to dash a little Vegas Knights in there too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
Vegas Knights. Yay.
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
What's the strangest picture request at any horse show with a horse in the picture?
Glad you threw that in there. I've had probably a few of them that try to do a bow. They'll try and get their horse to bow at the backdrop,
oh yeah.
and or wedding proposals.
Hey, didn't Scott Doug's had a farm?
Oh,
Yeah.
how many of those have you done?
How many?
I think I've done. I want to say 3, maybe.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Really?
I just did one at Congress last year, and one at the World Show too. I think.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
year
you did.
before.
And the dad was surprised. Like,
Yeah,
what?
Yeah, and so the funny one was the one we just did at Congress. The dad wasn't even in on it. He had no idea what was going on. So
Okay.
and I think they were barrel horses, weren't they?
Yeah, the daughters. Yeah.
Barrel horses,
Like,
and they're all lined up, and they're
Yeah.
telling us this. So I'm all ready to shoot it, and the dad's over there, and he already had this grumpy look on his face, like he wasn't very happy about I don't know what. But so we get him all positioned. He's going along with everything, and we're shooting and shooting, and all of a sudden, he gets down on one knee and starts proposing to her, and so I keep shooting, and the dad doesn't know what's going on, so he's even more off now. He's like, what's this idiot doing? Like, why is he shooting pictures? Like, I'm not even looking, and so he's getting infuriated because he doesn't know what's going on, and he thinks I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So then they let him in on the secret, and then he sees that.
There's a ring.
Yeah, the daughter's getting proposed to. So then he was laughing, and he thought that was pretty funny. So
Were you told ahead of time?
I was told ahead of time, so I was prepared, ready. To
Okay.
shoot.
Okay.
But
Okay.
This poor guy was not. So when those flashes
right.
were going off, and the horse is like looking here, and he's looking down, and
Yeah.
he doesn't know what's going on.
Surprise.
Yeah, he was totally out, left field. He had no idea what was going on.
So I want to back up to my question number 9. Okay, tell me about you and the Golden Knights.
And the Golden Knights.
Golden Knights.
Your favorite hockey team in
One of my favorite.
Las Vegas. In Las Vegas.
It's actually Julie's favorite hockey team, and we finally got to go to a game there this year, and it was epic. It
Oh
was.
my gosh.
And like I said, I'm started off a Sabres fan. I'm a huge Lightning fan, but by far probably the best hockey game I've ever been to.
And then you also do Silver Dollar Circuit, right?
The Silver Dollar Circuit, yep. Which
That's
I've
why we're
actually
there.
done Silver Dollar Circuit now. God, I was doing
before.
it back when it was in Reno. That's how long I was
Oh
doing.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So and that picture you had showed where Primo was in there, he was setting feet for me back then.
Wow.
And at
wow.
when it was in Reno. And then Jan moved it to Vegas. when they built that new facility. And then
So is there anything special like when you shoot in Las Vegas? Like is there more shots, or is it just because we're all there? And
I mean, Vegas I love because it's one of my favorite horse shows. That venue of just being able to go up to your room when you want to,
right.
being all under one roof,
Yeah.
having access to go to the strip if you want to. The horse shows don't seem to run real late there. All that combined, the food, the atmosphere, the gambling, all of it.
How about just
Yeah, I can
shooting
relate to that.
arenas? Shooting
Yeah.
in those arenas, okay?
The arenas actually are, you probably remember they only had that one arena,
Right.
and then they had that screen deal out back where you used to do the trail and all that.
Right. You did
And
that.
now they have that split arena back there, and outside of only being able to shoot one direction,
Oh, got it.
they're great.
Yeah.
If the only problem is if something's set up and you'd rather be on the other side shooting that other direction, that's the only downfall. But the arenas are the nice thing, you can always tell when a facility hasn't changed much and it's in good condition and remains in good condition, and you visit it and revisit it every year, and you can set up your stuff and everything still looks like it did 20 years ago, they're doing something right.
You bet.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on. We're going to take our commercial break. We'll be right back with more Shane Rux and Shane Rux Photography.
We'll be right back.
Hold tight.
Keeping It Real is brought to you by
Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Dough, Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers.
And now, back to Brad and Tim.
All righty. Let me unmute you guys because I heard you talking during our.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Timmy, but I had to manually mute Shane because we all having a fight there. But
No.
we have. I'm just kidding.
Tell me
I'm totally.
to loosen
I was
up.
telling him to drink more wine.
She's
I was
like,
like,
totally.
"No,
He's-
stop your
Y'all,
mouth, Dane."
you're doing great. You're doing
wait.
great.
So I'll put my picture real quick.
Hey, Tim, did you see my shirt today?
Look at
I was
that.
trying.
I wore
Hold
this
on.
just for you.
Oh, there's Tim's shirt.
Oh, hold on. Look at
Wait a minute. Just tell
the young 26-year-old Tim Kimura.
That's at
Yeah.
the restaurant. That's at Tulsa.
I'll tell you what.
It is. Okay. Sorry.
It is.
I didn't share my
Hey, the Marble Man's got nothing on that.
picture.
Nothing.
Here, wait. There's my girl.
Okay, now I want to see your shirt, Shane.
Okay, now show us.
And you can.
Fashion guy.
I'm just an old-fashioned guy, and it proves that you have pants on right now too. That'll
I
make
do,
me
yeah,
very
yeah.
happy.
Katie
Okay.
Joe, back
Yeah.
up.
All right,
Katie
perfect.
Joe wants to make sure you're wearing pants tonight.
Yeah.
He's wearing pants.
Yeah.
Did you know that your shirt matches?
Underwear is optional, but I do have pants on.
I said his shirt matches our logo. Keeping it real.
Yeah. Keeping it
There you
real.
go.
That's right. That's right.
You like that?
See, old fashioned, that's a Wisconsin thing. So
Okay. You ready for round two?
Oh.
Bring
Let's
it.
go, baby. Let's go.
So tell me about. I'm just curious because I'm Asian. Like, tell me about how we switched to digital. I tried to say that word, digital, and how that changed our industry a little bit.
Well, 2004, if I remember right. I bought my first digital camera, and that's right when digital and film was teetering, and they came out with that camera, and it was at the time pretty spectacular camera, but I still felt like film had a little bit of an advantage at the backdrop, but digital definitely helped with the arena stuff. Because back when we were shooting film, you always had to run out and get your 35 millimeter processed, and then you would get all these proofs, and you would have to twin check the proof with the negatives, put them all in books, and then people could come up and look at them. So it was a process where the digital eliminated that, so it made it easier for us to display it and let people see them and be able to pick them out and almost immediately.
So did you didn't develop them there at the deal? You sent them out to be developed?
I had my mom. A lot of people don't know this, but my mom worked with me for several years when I first got my start, She was, God rest her soul, she was a big advocate of mine. She was a big supporter, and she would come to almost all my shows. And I'd be like, Mom, I got this. Take this. Hit the 1 hour nap and get back here as quick as she can. And she'd be like, okay, all right. And then she'd come back and, she'd organize them, or, whoever was working with me at the time, in addition to, and they'd put them all in the books and get them all ready. And then,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was such a pain in the butt, but this sped everything up, much faster, and gave the, people more access to stuff quicker. And
you bet, for sure.
It boosted our arena sales. So I still remain shooting the backdrop with the old camera just until I was comfortable enough to realize, it felt secure enough that the quality was going to be there. But 2004 was pretty much for me. Some of the other guys might have went a little earlier, not much, or maybe a little later. I know Harold went much later, being, an older gentleman, an old school guy. I'm sure he resisted to the last fight, but eventually we all had to make that adjustment. And once we did, there was obviously lots of perks to it, but there was also a lot of disadvantages that came with it too.
So how does social media now impact the business and the requests and everything like that?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, social media rules. I mean, that's what, everybody wants to be on, or everybody wants their stuff right away. So
today.
Yeah, everyone wants it today. Everybody wants it fast, and it's mostly all because of that, And I get it. I mean, everybody, that America operates in kind of a quick pace, anyways, and this just sped everything else up on top of that tenfold. So I appreciate it, what it brings to it. People like the enjoyment of it. They like sharing all that, their pictures and their memories and all that stuff. So it's been a good thing for the industry. I think our business probably picked up some because people are wanting so much at the time, but at the same time, you got all these great cell phones now, iPads out there that take a pretty nice picture too and stuff. And so There's a little bit of competition with that, but for the most part, I think it's a good thing. And I think, people
Your crew. Like Cody gets stuff worked up.
Yeah. I mean, we have, all our people are, they multitask. So that helps in speeding everything up, and everybody pitches in and does their part. And
so does the criteria change though for like the magazines and advertisements and how you shoot it, the quality of the shot, like resolution, I guess? I mean,
the quality's still there, and it's probably better now than it was back with film. But it's actually, like I said, digital just allows everything to happen much faster. Back in the day, I remember we shoot the picture, you'd have to send the film to the lab. Lab would produce that 8x10, send it back to you. And then the magazine would be waiting for that image because they want it for their ad. Well, then you had to turn around and FedEx that image now to the ad agency. And then they would do it. And then they may have to FedEx it back to you or to the customer, depending on now who owns that picture. So it was Pony Express, man. I mean, it was forever. Now, with the quality of everything, it's, you get it worked up and they get everything so fast. And a lot of times these guys they understand already what they're doing. So they have everything all laid out and they already have it almost done, and they can, boom, throw those pictures in there last minute and out the door they go, and you're ready to go. And it's
how about this is a sidebar question too, is like, as computers get better, your photography, your equipment gets better.
Right.
How do you store such big files?
So that's a good question, because the images are getting to be so large. So for us, a 5 terabyte drive pretty much holds an entire year worth of stuff for us.
Really?
Yeah, 5 terabytes. So fortunately, the drives have gotten much smaller. back when they weren't so small, you were lugging around some pretty big drives and stuff. But we're able to store a lot of our stuff on, smaller drives, and, we still have 2 or 3 drives, because obviously you're going to want one at home, one to bring with you on the road if you're going to be on the road for, a long, duration. So, so, I mean, we got multiple drives, but it takes 5 terabytes now to hold everything. And some guys, I think, probably use the cloud, and some other things like that. I'm kind of old school when it comes to that. I like to know where it's at.
Yeah, me too.
Fingertips and go, here it is, and
So do you
rely on a power outage or something to screw me up.
like you keep all these pictures and all these discs and these files, like I would my patterns and stuff like that when I was big. Like, do you get requests for older pictures sometimes? Like,
I do, and I actually kept a lot of my negatives for several years. Just I had a girl not too long ago. She had an unfortunate episode where her house burned down, and she wanted some pictures of an old horse. And I tried looking through some of my old negatives and finding some for her. Unfortunately, I couldn't. But the old negatives and stuff, we used to write the number down on the order when they placed it, so if they reordered, we could go back and find it.
I remember that.
But, unfortunately now, if someone calls and says, do you have any of this or that? Well, it's not organized, by a horse or by something. It was just shot.
Right.
It's by a show.
Right.
So it makes it pretty impossible or time consuming to find.
Kelly.
So
Julie,
Really?
get to work, Julie. Come on, get that organized. Come on, let's go,
Hold them
Julie.
up to the light.
Yeah, no, I was digital.
So I finally broke down and pitched all of them when we left California and moved to the house. I was like, that's it. I'm not bragging these things anymore. I'm done.
We got rid of it.
But the digital, that's the other thing. It allows you to store all this stuff under people's names or however you want to do it yourself. I mean, by show, by horse, by person. So it makes it much more easier to find and locate for people now.
Sure. So this, I'm going to throw this question at you. This was kind of big yesterday for all of us. Can you just kind of go over like some of the factors that's involved in organizing the backdrop when they come with you after they're winning, the backdrop picture, how to get everyone organized? Like, what's the criteria? You were kind of telling us a little bit of how to
so for me, and I know Brad probably, this might come as a shock to a lot of people, but we always like to expedite things as fast as we can to some degree, because if there's long lines and we don't want people waiting, but we try to get people in and out and, make it as enjoyable of an experience as possible. So with that, we always try and encourage everybody to have all their people there, all their pets, grandma and grandpa, whoever wants to be in there, and have them all ready to go so we can get them up there. And once they're up there, then we can spend the time with them and get the horse set up correctly, get the right angle, get all our prizes in there, get what they might have won or what they, don't have or need to add into it, or, that kind of thing. So then we have a whole understanding, and then that way we have an idea of how we want to start everything and format everything and get everybody in position.
Because when we were talking about this yesterday, I shouldn't say it shocked me, but it was really nice to hear how much you guys want. Not that I know you want to do a quality job, but it's really nice to hear you're aware. You're kind of our time. People have to catch. You'd mentioned yesterday. People got to catch flights.
Right.
There's so many other things that are going on. So you're trying to do things to expedite the process once they're up there. And because I have seen it where, you don't have everybody here. Okay, then we're going to go on to the next one or whatever. Like, that's where people need to understand that, they may not be concerned about the people standing in line behind it, but you guys are. And so that's why you kind of have to have some sort of rules.
Yeah, most people are really good about it. Some people can get a little bit, uptight over it, but once they understand, once they see, that it doesn't take that long, and but not having everybody there holds everything up.
And we're paperless.
And then that's not fair to everybody else in line. So it's not that we want to let people jump in front of anybody or anything like that, but it just keeps everything flowing and keeps it expedited. It's just.
So can I ask a sidebar question here on this?
Go for it.
Shoot.
Have you ever had like a horse that had to get drug tested and peed on your carpet?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So,
Really?
so this was probably more of a problem. I want to say back in the day, not as much anymore, but you would have a mare or something come up there and she pee or do something. Then of course the next day, what is it going to be? Amateur stallion day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So every horse coming up there is sniffing and going.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Makes for some great pictures.
yeah. So then it was yeah, and that was the other thing too. Back in the day, a horse did that. Now you got this big wet spot on there, and maybe some shavings where you soaked it all up. And guess what you're gonna have in everybody's picture after that? There's a big wet spot on the carpet for you. So there was no fixing any of that either. So you tried to avoid it at all costs.
That's the amazing part for me is with this digital deal. We had Stephanie Lynn on last Friday, and she sent some old pictures and all. You see the backdrop. Well, the backdrop stops here, but the picture was this wide, right? And it was just so crazy. And the horse's head is like outside the backdrop, and it's amazing. Just like our horses, how far your industry has come as well, right? Like how you guys can set up a scene basically how you want. That horse that never puts its ears up.
The judges for the World Show, they would bring them up maybe in a group of 4 or 5 or 2 or well, then Cody's got to build that entire backdrop as long as those judges are, and then he makes the picture for them.
We make sure we talk about Cody tonight, Tim.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm almost there.
Cody's my man. Yeah, make sure we talk about
all that is keeping things proportionate.
Yeah,
because.
Yeah, I can see that.
After shooting you, and you want to get added to my picture, or Tim's dogs getting added to that Congress photo that was up.
Yeah.
How does that person know or have any scale to know how big those dogs really are, or how tall you are versus me?
Right.
Unless you shoot it on the exact same plane, the exact same focal point every time.
I feel like a news guy here. So I got my pencil going on.
Yes, your pencil, yeah.
I'm going to ask you right now, A, how you get your pictures out so fast, and B, tell me about fixing those pictures and what's involved with fixing a picture or editing it, and then how long does it take for you to get out? It's like that. It's not like that. Just
so, I mean, we tried. Cody and I have a pretty good working relationship when it comes to that because he shoots also, and he has his own business, so he can appreciate this. But what goes into shooting it and then editing it afterwards. So he edits the majority of a lot of our stuff. And what we try and do is get it as close as we can to having it perfect while we have everybody there on there and getting everything in as correct as possible. So that leaves the least amount of editing that we have to do to it, which speeds everything up. Another nice thing is once in a day, we used to have maybe 2 different locations. So I'd be shooting a backdrop somewhere, i.e. like Congress, and maybe somebody else is editing up in a different office or somewhere else, or Sammy or whoever it may be. Having that person down there while you're shooting and editing as you're going speeds everything up and leaves less margin for error because they witnessed what was going on, they saw, and so then if there's ever any questions or misunderstandings, that person can check with Cody or vice versa and try and correct it before it gets edited and then has to get re-edited again because it wasn't right.
Yeah, so, if you guys notice, like Cody is at the backdrop at Congress because that's the majority of the bulk of the pictures that are taken. So he hears everything that goes on, whether he's looking or not. He can hear it when they come up on the carpet, and the script gals that are whatever's working with that person can tell him, hey, flag this one, Cody. Like this one's got blah 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 to add in or whatever. So it helps so much more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanna touch while we're here about not Cody only, but we're talking about Jeff and Casey and all these guys. This was one of the most interesting things that we talked about yesterday, because as all of you that are on here watching know, when you're at Shane's backdrop, you see Cody, you see these guys that are out taking pictures, Jeff Kirkbride, those guys that have their own very successful businesses that actually probably they used to have the Congress, they used to have the work, they used to have these things. But now you see them without that horse show working for Shane. And I know it goes both ways because I know Shane goes and works for those guys too.
Right.
And I just think this is an incredible point because it is amazing to me the relationship that all of you have, because in this crazy world that we live in right now, sabotaging your friend and stabbing people in the back and all that, you guys are at the easy spot to be able to do that to each other, and you don't. No. I mean, that's amazing, man. And while you're talking, I'm going to pull up some pictures of you working with these guys and your whole team and stuff. But just please speak on that and when you used to work for Jeff at the Congress and how everything is coming up. Please speak to that because I think it's amazing.
I mean, basically, all of us guys that are doing it now, and we all start basically doing shows of, say the circuit shows and stuff like that. So, I used to do like the Maple Leaf and International and the Texas Classic, and you start off shooting all these circuit shows in hopes to one day either shoot at the World Show or a World Show of any kind, or get it for yourself. One of the two. And so, I was fortunate. I got to work with those guys early in my career. So even though I didn't have those shows, I was working for all of them for the most part at one time or another. And so that gave me a lot of notoriety and recognition with being on site and people getting comfortable and seeing me, and this is a lot of our crew right here are still in this picture here.
I'm looking at that picture and seeing 1, 2, 3 other than you that have their own businesses that go shoot other horse shows. Which now that I'm thinking about it, are the horse shows that you used to do when you were getting started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian,
without a doubt.
Which is really cool.
And so, I was lucky enough to have a great relationship with Larry and Casey and Jeff and all them guys, and Harold included. And Jeff turned to me. I gotten a novice show from AQHA. I think the year or two prior to that, but in 2014, we were breaking down that night, last day of Congress, and he said, do you want to do this show next year? And I'm like, yeah, right. No. And come to find out, he wasn't kidding. He wanted to venture on to just some other stuff, and
he had it 14
years. He had it for long enough and felt like he didn't need to do it anymore, and didn't. And I said, well, I'd do it if you would work with me. And he said, I'd be happy to come and shoot for you. So when you got guys like that around you that are willing to come back and help you after they help you get a prestigious show like that, that says volumes about somebody. So if I could do the same thing in return to for say like Cody or somebody else like that, then, I'm going to try and do it, because those guys have all paid their dues and they all work hard, and it's not like they just showed up on the scene and felt like something was owed to them. They've paid their dues, and and they deserve it. So,
and that's exactly that's exactly why this was such a big point, because we've talked about this with all the other horsemen that we've had on the show about a young horseman coming up and all that. Like you said, they paid their dues. These guys they're not looking for the shortcut. They want to know how to do it the right way. They want to learn from the best.
Right.
And however long that takes, it takes. But it's not about trying to jump over people and kill people to get to that spot, but actually helping each other out along the way. Because Tim, and you tell me, Tim, could you see a bunch of trainers doing what these guys did? Oh, hey, I don't want these, my biggest client anymore. So I'm going to give you that client, but I'm also going to come help you with that client.
Yeah, I'm going to help you, right.
Have that client.
Yeah.
But let
I
me
mean,
put it in perspective. Hold
Yeah.
on, Brad. What about I can't go to that show because that client wants to go to that show? Maybe you could call in another trainer. And can you help this, my amateur at this show? I'm not able to go, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of the same venue a little bit.
yeah, a little bit.
Tribute a little bit like that.
Here's a good example too, like Bill and Jennifer Horton.
They're awesome.
They worked for Casey for several years.
Yep.
Have their own business too.
They come help
And
us.
now Jennifer's shoot for me, and Bill used to set feet for Casey Montgomery back when Casey started. And so people's our loyalties are with everybody. We all have to help each other out, and
There's room for everybody.
yeah, there's room for everybody, and everybody just
Sure.
everybody's just got to get along, and hopefully, like me, you wait and you hopefully get a break, and then one day stuff gets passed on to you, and you go on and you do the best you can do to make that person that had it, proud of what you're doing after.
Absolutely. But you had such great examples for you, and so many opportunities in positions that you weren't even looking for, but you took advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
And so you're doing that for the same. And I just think it's awesome. I think all of us as horsemen, just adhere to that. I mean, as people, not just as horsemen, but just as people. Sorry, Timmy.
I got one more question here. Okay. I don't. I have more than one, no doubt. We're going past 8 o'clock.
That's all right.
This is how I visualize this thing. Okay. There has to be a lot of expenses before you shoot your first shot.
Yes. So, people always confuse us with being vendors.
Yeah.
But really we're like no different than you, Tim. A lot of times we're there to provide a service. So when we come in, we're exclusive, like you're exclusive to do the trail or whatever. We're not really, yes, we're selling something, but we're there to promote the show first and foremost. And then second, make a living after that too.
Right.
So that's our first goal when we come in there is how can we help this show promote itself, and how can we capture things for people that need advertising and or pictures to promote the show for the following years, showing people having a good time and throwing those candids in there and doing stuff like that. So
example too is like they might ask us to go set up the versatility class.
right.
When we're doing something outside our norm, right? Your candids, my norm, but we do it for the good. We don't have to get paid for that, but let's just do it to help the show.
Right.
You're whatever we do. So,
right. So yeah, not being a vendor, you're already coming in there with all your expenses. You got all your people.
Yeah.
You got all your hotels. You got all your flights. You got all your expenses
You gotta feed them.
to bring everybody in there,
Right.
and in hopes
Right.
that you're going to
Right.
make that money back, and then
Yeah.
hopefully make some money for yourself after that. And that's no different when you're doing the circuit shows and stuff too. So remember that when those guys are sitting there, they're putting out their money up front too, and a lot of times the money they make is going to provide expense money for their next circuit show, and their next show after that. So
It's hard sometimes we don't see that.
Yeah,
and
they don't see that.
they don't understand that, and it's if you're not careful, you're robbing, Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
So you got to be careful and budget things and
people will go, I don't understand why I can't have my shots here or
Right.
whatever, and the
Right.
grounds here or whatever.
yeah.
They just don't understand it though. But if you explain it to them, then they usually do.
And that's the whole thing with anything.
Then they go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's your business.
It's just it's the labor, it's your setup, your travel, your hotels, your food, and we haven't even had a championship class yet, right? We just
Right.
have-
Exactly. Yeah.
And we just have
Yeah.
the first 2 days.
Right.
It's like you're sitting there waiting for it to happen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jeff always
And
says, "Are you out of the red yet?"
Yeah.
He always comes down. Are you
Yeah,
out
you're
of the red
waiting.
yet?
It feels like you're at Las Vegas, and here it goes. Is he rolling a number? Is he rolling a number? Come on. Come on.
That's how it is.
I remember being at the was it Fort Worth Stock Show and the Rainers would come in and they used to buy pretty good, and we had that one ice storm there. nobody showed up. So now here you got these people here that you got to pay, and you got this unfortunate weather incident that can rob you too, or being at a big A and it pours down rain
Oh,
on
that
circuit,
Right.
set up outside.
Okay,
You're
so
like, oh, now what?
no, well, I'm waiting. I've been waiting for this picture, the favorite picture thing. So
Okay.
tell us about your favorite picture, because that's the big one here.
So I got probably a few, but one was we were talking earlier. I was telling Julie about it, but it was Megan East. We're at the International, and it was back in film, and it was just real pretty. I don't know if I have it or not, but
But we didn't. But this is about him.
this is a different one. But it was real pretty. The trees were beautiful, and she was laying down, and this horse was bridleless, and it was just sitting there feeding next to her, and the lighting was beautiful. And I don't have it, unfortunately, but it was one of my favorite pictures that I captured.
So that's a farm shoot.
And there's pictures like the last one that you threw up, the Batman.
Yeah, I'll throw that back.
Batman.
And kids coming up, and
17 Congress.
Yeah,
this little boy showed halter.
yeah, and he was a little not so sure about stuff, and
He didn't.
Jared
really
come
want
out and
his
had this Batman costume that he bought night before or something, and
picture.
That's so awesome.
went through it on quick and came out there, and that little kid, he lit up, and it was
He thought the
funny.
real Batman had shown up at the Congress at the backdrop.
And then of course Cody had to take it one step further, and put all the graphic stuff behind it too, and make it even more.
That's awesome.
Gotham
But
City.
The other one that stood out most too was, and I didn't tell you guys this one, but just like a lot of the the proposals and stuff like that are really cool.
Right.
But this one was at Congress. It was, I want to say, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And people that work with me, and if we're watching, they'll remember this. But this gal, and I can't remember her name, and forgive me for not remembering, but she come out. They were stalled right next to where the backdrop was. She said, "I have this horse. It's really sick.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't think it's going to make it."
Yeah.
She goes, "Is there any way you could get some pictures of it?" And I hadn't had a request like that before. Of all the years I'm doing this, I'm like, "Well,
Yeah, that's a little
oh,
awesome.
like, what do you want me to do?" And I'm like, I felt horrible. I'm like, how do I capture a horse that's possibly dying?
Right.
And
In a good light.
in a good light, and make it look good, and not have all my availability to my backdrop and stuff. I said, "Well, is there any way you can get it over to the backdrop?" And she said, I think I can get it over here. I'm not positive. I'm only right around the corner. I said, "If you can get over here, I can guarantee you we can do a much better job for you and get what you want." She's like, "All right." Long story short, she brought this horse over. We pulled out the black and shot some full body stuff, and there was nobody really in it. I think the owners had left or gone home or something, and so they were just all distraught. But anyways, we got all these really nice pictures, and she was tickled to death, and they bought a bunch after they saw him, and they were so happy. The horse ended up living. I was back to Congress the next year, and she said,
She's like, "Oh, guess what?"
Oh my
She goes,
gosh.
"Remember that horse?" I said, "Yeah," and I felt horrible. Like I was like, just you could just see the pain in her face. She was the trainer, and I just felt horrible for her.
Oh,
And she obviously had a close tie to this horse for whatever
Looks like it
reason,
made it.
more so than other. I don't know if she raised
wow.
it or made it or whatever. But yeah, she's like, the horse lived, and she goes, and we still love those pictures. So that was
That's
like,
awesome.
that was
That's a good story.
yeah, it was really cool. Like it was one of those things that just lit you up,
How about
Yes.
like anything else that do you like to shoot anything else besides horses? Like, is there anything else you can tell?
We get a lot of dog requests when we're at the horse shows too. So.
I
Bet.
know.
We've shot our own dogs and stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm a dog person for sure. So, anytime we can do something like that, it's always cool. I've done some weddings that are really
There you go.
not really my thing. I enjoy the animals more than I do people sometimes. I don't know.
Cody shoot.
I get that.
Cody shot our wedding, so.
Yeah.
I've done some friends and family and stuff, and it's fine. I don't mind doing that, but I still enjoy doing the animals and maybe a little bit of nature stuff once in a while. But the dogs are always fun. And being in Florida, who wouldn't want to shoot a picture of a dog?
Right?
All the
Answer this as quick as you can. If there's one tip if somebody's taking a picture of their horse at home, say to sell or just taking a picture, give the best tip you get. What in like
tip.
1 sentence?
Worst rookie mistake ever. Everybody makes it. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody does it. Is horses are not built the same as people. They are built horizontal versus vertical. And everybody takes their picture and their heads look huge.
Yes, that's my pet peeve too. And always like, oh my gosh.
I'm on to something. So
Yes.
the worst thing you could do is be too close to that horse when you're taking his picture. That is 101, rule number 1. Don't
Perfect.
stand
I
too
love
close
it.
to your horse because you will make its head look way bigger than the rest of its body.
Yeah.
Stand
Great
back.
tip.
Yep.
Bam.
Oof.
Here it goes. Ready for mine again? I'm back.
That's funny.
Well, here goes. Like, you and I have similar jobs where we're early and we're there all day long, whether it be the table or in the arena.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have to learn, both of us, how to
Yes.
be so nice and
Yeah.
pleasant from 7 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night.
And keep that smile.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have my secret, but what's your secret? Like, how do you like?
It's wine.
Yeah. Well, you start with a little wine,
Yeah.
and that'll always help. In all honesty, that could take the edge off a little bit. But, a show like Congress, when you're there and you've been there for, well, more than 18 hours, is you've been there since day one and almost a month long with rainers
when
and
does
cutters.
day 1 start?
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, and you've been there a week prior to that setting up. So it can get a little difficult keeping that smile towards the end. But, what I like to relate back to is you think about all these entertainers, all these, whoever kids are listening to. I mean, for me back in the day, it'd be Rush or, Triumph or some of these old bands or whatever, Led Zeppelin, whatever. Those guys had to go on and they had to perform all the time, right? They had to go on, you go to this town, that town, and they're on the road, they're traveling, they're doing all that. And they got to make it, their fans feel like they're there just for them for that first time. So I try to relate that in my head and remind myself that this is a big deal to a lot of people. They've worked hard all year round to get to this point.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, or at least try to be happy for them, then you're not doing your job. Because while you're working really hard, and you have been working really hard, they've been working really hard too. The trainer's been working hard, mom, dad's been working hard, kids been working hard, and you have to remind yourself of that. And so you have to bask in the glory with them because it's a big deal for these people. And
Great.
And so what I'll do for then is relate it back to something that's a big deal for me. And I would hope that someone would be happy for me if, I excelled in something that I love.
And I'll add to that from a patron that sends clients, and we purchase things from you guys that, because we've been up there with big win photos. We've been up there with a finalist photo.
Sure.
And you are no different. And whether we have multiple high points or trophies or a ribbon, you are no different. You don't treat one of my clients any different than the other. And so I know you do that for everybody. It's not
I
just
hope my
me.
staff feels the same way.
but it really does. It's I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes with staff and all that, but as far as the client, you make everybody feel like their time is important.
It is important. Absolutely. They worked hard to get there.
Y'all do a fantastic job.
Well, and I got a good crew behind me, and they understand that too, and I try to relate that to them, on the same token. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that work with us understand the horse show world too, and would love to be in the same place those people are at when they win.
Absolutely.
And it's not even a championship. You could be a top 10 or a 15 or a qualifier.
Yeah.
I mean, they would love to be in that position that person's in at that time when they come up.
People,
So that helps, them too. They're able to relate to the person. They're genuinely happy for them because they want to be them.
Yeah.
So here's my heavy last question, okay?
Got that pencil.
Heavy
Glad
last.
I don't believe them. There's gonna be another rapid fire. I know it.
Okay. So I compare you, not to compare you to me, but we've done this, our business for a long time.
Absolutely,
I mean,
for sure.
a long time. So how do you attest to your longevity, like of being passionate to keep doing this? You know, you gotta get that memorable shot. You gotta have something inside of you, like going for that. That's like me drawing patterns. You gotta like digging for that. And how have you maintained it for so long?
Yeah.
And tell me that. That's what I really want.
I'm not gonna lie. There's times where I didn't know if I was gonna continue on, and but things had changed. One being when digital did happen, things didn't feel so monotonous anymore too, because now you're an old dog learning new tricks. So now you got to try and figure out this whole digital aspect, which was, if it had been that way from the beginning, don't know if I would have been doing this job. So that was a challenge, and then everybody hopefully likes a challenge. And so that kept me going. And then, like I said earlier, a lot of us do it. And I know Cody and some of these other guys behind Becky and all them too, that, you do it for so long and you pour your heart and soul into it and you do it as the best job you can do. And then that next step is, like I said, when you get that world show, or you get that, for me, it was Reichert and some of these other things and leading up to it, when you finally feel like you got to one of those mountain shows, can you pull it off? Can you do it? It's another challenge, because you gotta pull the staff together. You got to be able to produce the product and then have everybody come out of there happy. Your crew, your people, your customers, and so there's always that test to see if you can go that one step further. And so for me, I've been fortunate enough that I got where I feel to that point, and
that's big for you.
Yeah, it's big for anybody.
You should have seen it. Brad and Tim, when he went paperless. We're ones with the iPads that come around and go, oh, have you bought from Chain Rex before? Because you'd be in our system. If not, I can add you. So he's like, oh my God.
I was definitely scared to do that.
He was.
I could completely understand.
But now he's like, where's your iPad?
All right.
Where's your iPad?
Yeah.
You need
an iPad. And I still
can't
run the damn thing.
So it's really funny though. Now he really.
But it was.
You have to build a trust in it. You have to build a trust that it's not going to crash and lose everything.
Right. And
from one gambler to another, you have to have the courage first to be able to go. Right. I'm going to try this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it all works out, and then you gain the confidence to keep going. And fortunate for us, we didn't run into too many catastrophes.
Just internet.
But
just here and there.
There's a lot of challenges.
I'm like the reporter that has a second question. Okay.
The follow-up question.
But no, it goes like this. Me too.
Yeah.
When I design a trail course at a world show where I have the wood and the stuff,
right?
I'm trying to build you a backdrop in my little arena.
Exactly.
Make you some money, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with me too. I want how can I decorate that? I know he wants a shot here. This is something he can. And I try to get the things to match. If it's the Lakers or whatever, I try to build something for you. Or just because I want to do it.
And this is a kudos to Tim. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever approached me as much as he has, and always said, hey, what can I do to make this work for you, to help you do that? And I may have been working for somebody else at the time, and it wasn't even my show, or that person was working for me, and they would say, Tim came over and asked. So that's when you get that kind of camaraderie with people at the horse shows, it's exactly what we need. We need
absolutely
to go out and think of others, and try to go that little extra mile and
help their business to succeed. Right? It's not just about me take everything. It's about how do we.
Hey, Shane, we got 3 dogs that need to get my picture.
Make the
What's
the
that?
dog.
I was trying to get my picture. Can you help me out?
Your picture.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure.
That's
Okay.
a must. I know that every time.
I know. Okay. I've got mine. I've covered my questions.
Cool.
All right. Good.
Me too. I told everybody it was just going to be an amazing interview. I learned so many things yesterday about Shane and Julie both that I didn't know, and I thought I knew. And I love the fact that he's a sports fan, even to the very end right there where you're talking about you want another test, you want to overcome something else. You know, it's not about just settling. And you want that next challenge, and that's what we all. I mean, that's what Tim and I are doing right now with this dang talk show. We've never done anything like this before, but you know, we have people probably laughing at us some of the time. We don't care. It's like we want the challenge. We love it. It's fun.
Yeah, but I think they're laughing in a good way, and what you guys are doing is great.
Fun. It's
and
fun.
we need more of it. And you know, I don't know if anybody's thanked you guys, but I just want to be one of the first to thank you guys, because I think what you're doing is admirable and it's great, and you guys genuinely care, and that's a tough thing to find. And
Keep
you know,
it real.
we do.
you guys have always considered friends more than anything else.
Absolutely, proud to call you friend for sure. And
absolutely,
I think that is something that we all get so busy doing that same routine, and now we can't do that. And so this is why I believe this opportunity is so awesome. But I think when we start getting back to horse shows, I know Tim and I are already talking about doing this at the horse shows, doing some live broadcasts as well, because imagine how much fun that's going to be, right?
Oh yeah.
So
catching people in the moment, man. That's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you make sure you do Katie Joe's program too?
Oh, Katie.
I'm sure. I want to share.
Shout out to Katie Joe.
Show Pony Radio.
Show Pony Radio.
Yeah.
You know,
You guys got to have her on, man. I'm telling you, she's great.
Sure.
Oh, well, we have so many opportunities. So yeah, we'll be reaching out to many. And again, go to the Keep It Real Show, the Keeping It Real Show, .com. We have to be a sponsor, to want to be a guest on our show. Go there, send us an email, let us know about what's going on in your world.
Trivia questions too, and some free web stuff and all that too.
We do. We have a new sponsor with Shane Ruck's Photography coming on board. We thank them for that, and along with that, they're going to be donating some web images, just like they did tonight. And the winner has slipped my mind right now, but I know she's from Michigan. But there will be more to come. There will be more to come.
Tomorrow, the next day.
Everybody stay strong in this coronavirus thing. Will pass, and we will move on, and we will be the better for it. So stay strong.
Don't we have one more trivia question?
Sure.
Sure. Lay it on me.
What's your trivia question?
No, you got it. You had it.
So whoever's left on board, Cody just showed up, by the way. Cody.
Hey, Cody.
We've
been talking about you, Cody.
He doesn't need a free web image.
Trivia question.
Listen.
For another free web image at the next horse show, the Shane Ruck's Photography is at. What was the name of the man that gave Shane Ruck's his start in the photography business?
There you go. That's a great one.
Perfect question.
What year was it?
Y'all may have to rewind. I don't know, but we'll be watching our live feed here to see who comes up.
Scott wanted to know
thank you so much.
The farm pictures.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Cheers.
Good night. Stay safe.
You guys stay strong.
Good night.
Thank you.
Will do.
Peace
Bye-bye.
out.
Good night. Good night.
Okay, Bradford. It's all you.
Taking us out.
This has been a Kona Cam production, brought to you by Kimes Ranch Jeans, Blue Ribbon Custom Tack, Letchworth Bits and Spurs, JewettEquine.tv, Chauffeur Silver Dollar Circuit, Horseman's Future, Unishippers. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.